Hi, Dr. Mark Agresti from my office in Palm Beach. I want to talk about hobbies for the treatment of depression and anxiety. What do I mean when I say that? There are 4 areas that I want to talk about: creative hobbies, mindful hobbies, social hobbies, and exercise. Now, I don't know if there's a caveat for number 5, which would be pets, and I'll talk about that at the end. So after 40 years, this is what I've come up with for patients. Now, the number 1 area for hobbies would be creative. That would be number 1. When I give these examples, creative means these are just examples. The list is endless because I've had people do amazing things. One that comes to mind is sculpting. I had a woman come in and she was sculpting. And at first she says, I do frogs. And she was doing frogs out of ceramics and clay. And at first it looked very, I hate to say childlike, but it looked like nothing. But believe it or not, after about 4 to 6 months, she was making these beautiful frogs playing instruments and frogs fishing and frogs golfing. And she started selling them at the local flea market. So the advantage of creative hobbies, it's mind, body. It makes you think about them. It gets you engaged. It defocuses you off your depression and your anxiety. It's critical because while you're doing it, you're in peace because you're on that, and all your problems go away. And when you're not doing it, you think of how to get better at it. I've had people do pottery. Woodworking is another good one. I've had people carve wood, make balsa planes and models, and carve coconuts, and build shadow houses of wood, and dollhouses and bird houses, and all sorts of... I had one person in a hobby making little waterfalls. That was the coolest one. He made miniature waterfalls and then big waterfalls in his yard, and made a little scenic waterfall. They were very relaxing. That was a cool one. I've had writing and what other hobbies have I seen? Blanket making, weaving, painting, journaling. Oh, here's one. I had one woman started collecting shells and making frames out of the shells, and then lamps. She started selling those at the flea market at Singer Island near Sailfish Marine on Thursday night. Then I had someone else. Let's not forget we're in the digital age. Digital art, calligraphy, that was huge. I had someone use coffee grinds to make paintings. I've had someone, oh, here's a cool one, started cutting bottles, liquor bottles. Not that I liked him drinking liquor, but he started cutting liquor bottles and making lamps out of them, or glass sets. It was really beautiful. He would cut them and then sand them. And to me, the most beautiful thing about alcohol is the alcohol bottles. There was other ones creating terrariums and aquariums and little ponds and little scenic train sets and train hobbies and remote control cars and planes and trains and copters, and the list goes on. I don't mean to patronize everyone to say, oh, these are the hobbies you need. It has to do with where you live, what you have, what you're capable of, getting involved in creating things. I had someone who put like silicone around different objects, creating art that way. That was really cool. Or someone used coins to make displays and art. That was cool. So creative is a huge component of the hobbies you need. Now, mindfulness is the second area of hobbies or things you can do. And we break this down into sensory, movement, creative, and breathing. So when I say sensory, that would be mindfulness eating. Just be very into what you're eating, the texture, the taste, the smell. Be mindful, be in the moment. Listening to music in a mindful way. Just listen to music. Or go out into nature and just sit and listen to the wind, the birds, the smell. Sensory of smelling different scents, or scent mindfulness. There's the movement mindfulness of all the martial arts, Tai Chi, yoga. There's the structured breathing. There's a Dr. Wheel, I think he's in Arizona, 478, where he says you go through these 3 cycles of breathing in for 4 seconds, holding it for 7 seconds, breathing out for 8 seconds. It resets your nervous system, has a calming effect. Look at Dr. Wheel and his breathing exercises. There's mindful stretching. Then there's creative mindfulness of writing, reading, pottery, where you just pay attention to what you're doing. Then there's the social hobbies, which I think are critical. Now this overlaps with exercise. So volunteering, getting involved in some kind of athletic group, journaling club, book club, gardening club, community-based organization, hospital volunteering, whatever you can find in your area. So everything is a component of what you can do and what's available in your area. I've had people join bowling leagues, community-based volunteer groups, athletic groups. I've had currently patients in kickball, softball, baseball, soccer, bowling. These groups pop up in your area, hiking, running clubs. So it's always good when you have a social-based group. Here's the most toxic thing that can happen to someone: over drugs, over virtually alcohol, social isolation. So the social component of treatment of depression and anxiety, bar one, is number 1. So social is critical. Exercise is absolutely critical. That's a segue into my next part of this talk. With the exercise component, what I said, the best one is the one you do. And when we start slow and do less than you think you can do the first week. And I tell everyone, start with walking the first couple of weeks and do less than you can do and gradually build up. The most extreme form of exercise is competition. Soccer, tennis. That is the most exercise. It's the most strenuous type of exercise, competition. The next is when you work with a trainer. Then the next is when you work with an exercise buddy. The next is when you exercise alone. The type of exercise, walking is my favorite go-to when I start patients. Most people have been active for a long period of time. So I say start slow, give it 2 weeks, and do less than you think you can do. The key here, what I tell my patients, don't get hurt. That's why I don't like competitive sports. Because if someone was an athlete at some point in their life and they go out there, they're going to get hurt. If you do it long enough with bikers and they competitively bike or bike in a group where they're trying to keep up, they fall and hurt their shoulder. Hiking even, it can get competitive trying to keep up with the group. Just take it easy at first. But swimming, hiking, biking, running, everyone's into paddleball, tennis. Ball sports are better than most everything. So we try and do those exercises. I like cardio and resistance training. Resistance training means weights. And when we talk about exercise, you can exercise in groups, go to gyms and join an exercise class. I've been in boxing classes. I practice what I preach. I run in groups. I lift weights with people. And I try and keep it social and try and get in shape. I don't take it too serious because I don't want to get hurt. Hell, I'm just a psychiatrist. I see people playing basketball and they're extremely competitive. And I don't know how, but they don't get hurt. But I think the average guy, if he does competitive sports, could get hurt. The next area, part 5, would be pets. Now, this is not part of my list. I put it on the side because pets are companionship. They result in socialization. People treat you differently when you have pets, dogs especially. People who walk around with dogs, I know I have a dog, treat you differently. If you walk into a place without a dog, no one pays attention to you. You walk in with a dog, everyone's nice to you. I don't know why. But dog means you take care of something. When I say pets, taking care of plants, taking care of fish, taking care of cats, dogs, whatever you choose, whatever fits your living environment. Not everyone can have a dog. Not everyone can have a cat. Maybe fish or a hamster. I'm not sure what. I don't mean to be patronizing and simplistic, but they did the studies, and the people in nursing homes who took care of just one plant did better than people who took care of nothing. And people who have dogs, their immune system is better, they're physically more fit, and they're more social. So just keep that in mind when you have depression. When you have to care for an animal, the animal forces you into healthier habits. Those are just some ideas and general directions I want to send patients in. In summary, what we have are hobbies for people with depression and anxiety: creative hobbies, mindful hobbies, social hobbies, and exercise. And a caveat to that list would be pets. I'm not sure what category that is because they encompass social, exercise, and caring for something else, which is pivotal in the treatment of depression and anxiety. Thank you.